Hey everyone, it's Melanie, and you're now tuned in to the feed. Today's topic is the Red Summer 1919, and our guests are Mr. Meek Williams, Dr. Cheryl Wilson, and Dr. Michael Carter. How are you guys?
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing blessed. How about you?
How are you?
I'm good. So let's jump right into it. Can you tell the audience what the Red Summer is about?
Well, the Red Summer was an event marked by a series of high number casualties and hundreds of deaths, sparked by anti-black white supremacist terrorist attacks that occurred in more than 3 dozen cities across the nation.
The 1919 Red Summer, to me, is rising tension between migration between the whites and blacks, which caused the uproar of riots.
Mhm.
And it was very traumatic events. A lot of lives were lost.
So exactly where did it start from? What caused it to happen?
It started from blacks taking a lot of the whites' jobs. When a lot of the soldiers who were white came back from war, they found out that they weren't getting paid the rate that they desired, and a lot of black people were taking their jobs. So it caused a lot of frustration.
Okay. Well, will it be safe to say that many people are not aware of the Red Summer 1919?
Yes, I
Uh,
believe so.
there's plenty of reasons why it's not as well known as some other major events that happened.
And why would that be?
One of the reasons is because during that same time period when this was going on, the Red Scare was actually going on, which was the Red Scare was basically a time period of confusion and fear that was sparked by the spread of communism, socialism, and anarchist ideologies across the country. It didn't really spread, but that's what people feared was going to happen due to the effects of World War One.
Wow, it's funny. Why do you think the Red Summer hasn't been discussed in the public as well as the school systems? Because it's still a major event that took place due to racism and the same thing that's going on in today's society.
You know that game that you play as a child when you get everybody in the group together, you tell somebody a secret, right? And then
Right.
the secret get passed down to the next person, and the next person, and the next person.
It's never
And
the
then
same when
it's
it
never the
comes back
same,
around.
exactly. And
Correct.
I feel like that has part of the reason to do with why the Red Summer was never really discussed because they really didn't know, even from the get go, even from when it started to happen, they didn't really know what happened. There was a lot of confusions during the riots of 1919 during that time period.
Right, because they say that at first it had something to do with a young boy being killed and drowned in the lake.
Hmm.
So is that part of the Red Summer true as well?
That's what sparked it, but there was a whole bunch of confusion sparked around it. The white man threw a rock at that kid. That's why he drowned. It wasn't the white man that got arrested, it was the black man that got arrested. So apparently, whether it has something to do with them purposely not arresting the right person or just being confused, yeah, there was a lot of misconceptions being thrown around there with what really happened. During the events of Arkansas, when that white cop got killed, not a lot of people know that cops went in shooting first, but the city of Arkansas, they just saw that a white cop got killed. They didn't really ask questions as to why he got killed. They just saw that, okay, this man got killed, so we're going to go out and take things to our own hands. Nobody really talked about it to begin with. So I feel like that's why it's not really talked about today because nobody really knows what happened. Or, I mean, we do know what happened now,
But it's kind of
but
like swept under the rug because I mean, if the police go in shooting first, you don't really have a reason. It's being covered up. I
mhm.
would say. So, what about you, Dr. Michael Carter? What do you think?
Think it's safe to say that people don't know about the Red Summer past or present only because it wasn't taught in schools. Because I feel like they wanted to keep it a secret. They didn't really want it to glamorize it to the public.
Right. And most textbooks that you see today aren't even like they don't really talk much about our history. If you
At
notice that.
all.
On top of that, most of these textbooks are 3 to 4 decades old, so they haven't really updated much of our textbooks since what the 70s, the 60s.
Right. I can honestly agree with you with that one. Do you all feel the events of the Red Summer has had an impact on today's society?
I feel like if we've known about its existence, it probably would have had more of an effect on our society than it does now. Um,
I feel like it will have an effect on our society mentally, passed down from generations to generations. It can be passed down from our parents not telling us about it and them suffering from it from our ancestors. So that can cause in society.
Dr. Cheryl?
I do believe that it has an effect on our society because a lot of people don't know about it, and it's like kind of like those things where it's like people don't know where they come from, type of thing. You
right.
can't really appreciate how far we come if you don't know your history.
Right. And how can we defend ourselves from similar events if we don't really know what happened to us from the get go?
Yeah.
A lot of the same stuff is happening. The media like to spin stories on us to make us seem like we were the perpetrators, and they're actually doing the same thing today.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
So
happening
us would
today
be, you would
because,
be saying Black Americans.
yes, perhaps it's still happening because we didn't know that this was happening to us before.
Yeah.
Like, not as bad as it was.
Like with Sandra Bland and the unfortunate situation happening with Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin. It's a lot of situations that have happened that are similar, and it's a shame that nothing gets done, but the family gets paid off, but they can't bring back that person.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we've known about the Red Summer and how things got so confusing, I feel like the media we would be less tolerable when it comes to how the media portrays us as a people.
Correct. Yes, I do think like it definitely would have changed some things in today's society. Like Dr. Cheryl said, I mean, you have to be aware of the problem in order to address it. So therefore, if people are not aware of it, how can you address something people don't know about? You know, just like the ancestors, some of those people may have be aware, they may have taught their family about it, but it probably hasn't came down the generation to be talked about because I've spoken with a lot of people about the Red Summer, and a lot of people wasn't aware that this event took place.
Hmm.
So, do you think this has an effect on Chicago? And if so, was it for the better or the worse?
I think it does have an effect on Chicago. You see the same thing today. Not only white on black crime, a lot of black on black crime within Chicago, a lot of gang violence that's not really being resolved. It's a lot of hatred going on in that city, I see. But it is some people like Chance the Rapper and a few politicians that are in Chicago that are making a change for the better, whether it be doing Mike Nights where they have children volunteer to display their talents so they can stay out of trouble, a lot
Hmm.
of giving back programs to keep people warm during the winter, things like that. But yeah, I think it has affected it for the worse, but I feel like a change will be coming eventually.
Yeah, much like in the past. I mean, it's still this thing where we are the only ones fending for ourselves. Nobody is coming to us to help us out. I'm speaking for the people of Chicago. It's only the people that are in those neighborhoods that are the unsung heroes that are trying to make a difference in those things. I don't feel like there's enough people in higher places really trying to make a difference in those neighborhoods.
Yes, because it
Not
seems
outside of the
like today's
neighborhoods.
society is reverting back to its old ways. We came so
Hmm.
far to try to go backwards. But I mean, like you all say, it's a work in progress. We have different people in higher places that are trying to make a difference. So we'll see the results that we get. What about you, Dr. Michael? If people was aware of the Red Summer, what kind of impact do you think it will have had?
I feel like an impact that it would have had on black people is because our mindset would have been, if we had the mindset that we have now, I feel like the red summer would have been differently. I feel that way because if we was taught like how to read and write properly, like growing up around that time, like we have now, like it would be different.
You think? Well, I wouldn't exactly say that, and I'm not going to fully disagree with you. The only reason I say that is because part of the thing was that the blacks were taking the whites' jobs, so they had to be good workers to begin with. I mean, hands on. I think they have, made an impact with hands-on training, but at the same time, like you said, they still really didn't know how to read and write fully.
Right. So
I feel like we didn't really know what kind of rights we had.
yeah,
Too.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So if we know that we had the rights that we had now back then, or maybe we didn't have the rights that we have now back then. Do you think we had them?
It's so much and so many different
Because
things that were changing in those times, converting over from blacks and whites not being able to go to the same restrooms, and so much was changing in those times. So like you said, it's just hard for people to know, like it have been pushed to the backside where you can't see when it's happening. And I can see why, because it was a lot going on in today's, in that society, as well as I think it was swept under the rug.
I feel like if we had the mindset that we had now, there would be a lot more resistance. The Red Summer would have lasted a lot longer than it did.
Yeah,
People wouldn't just sit down and just take what was being handed to them. They would definitely be fighting for the rights that they knew that they deserved. Even if they didn't have those rights, they knew they would see that the people that were here, they would see that they had the rights and everything, and they would do everything they could to fight to have those rights. There would be a lot more, feel like, resistance, if we knew what we knew today. I don't feel like that would fly today.
Yes, correct. Well, thank you all for tuning in to the feed, and let's give a special thanks to our guests, Mr. Meek Williams,
Thank you.
Dr. Cheryl Wilson, and Dr. Michael Carter.
thank you.
All right, you guys. See you next time. And this is your host, Melanie.